This is for Annie. I met Annie in college. I'd known her for a while before an accident brought us closer as friends, as part of a social group that struggled to carry on after we all moved out of college. There was quite an age gap. Her 21st was a few weeks before my 30th. We spent the next 6 months or so always catching up, with gaps in between, trying to work out if we had a future together. And it turns out that we didn't. My muse has gone away, and I lay claim her melodies remain, but nothing is the same. I write, but barely in her name. I drive the same old lines of thought into the page, and strive to ease the pain. But can a poet's flame ignite on ashes? Embers must survive. The rhythms aren't alive without her voice, her words that all are mine, by memory, to paste in rhyme like pieces of my life, and left to dry. A mirror may reflect more light than flame, but it can never shine the way I used to write, and I will nightly watch the passion die. If I lived by this lie, then I'd be able to get through this loneliness, contrived of only being used to poetry by sight, when I can truly feel the heartbreak mounting line by line, when all I knew was tenderness. Perhaps when there's enough of this, the love I have becomes more real. One part of me decides on what to do. The heart starts to return to images and make believe in hope the old flames still can burn. You've come back to my life and brought me words as if you'd never been away, unlooked for solace on the page, new thoughts on loss that's found an end, an empty space now quickly filling in my heart with much I want to say when next we meet, a day away, and knowing that you're still my friend. What news? All separation brings on changes, but I hope you are the same bright light I loved when we were close before, and hope we are again. There was a darkness in your absence, and my mind lit by hope's flame has not diminished any feeling I expressed to you or wrote back then. Some moments there'll be tension in discovering the places that we filled in the relationship, lain stagnant for a while, now crying out in need. Indeed, this fluttering within will stay some time, in time alone be stilled, when I am used to your dear presence once again, and then my tongue is freed. But we cannot pretend there was no time apart. The absence makes us fond behind the little silences we used to fear, now need to carry on back to the conversation that we long to share, and then to go beyond, too happy in togetherness to contemplate the time we had alone. A picture of the three of us sits by my bed, and I can see how it divides so easily in bringing us together there. You, innocence, sit in the middle, matching on your right is me, and counterpoint the other side, the friend we pity as we share. Somehow the camera captured every nuance of the night, it seems. My leaning forward, worldly, knowing, dark and fearful in my way. Your simple finer in style, a smile all taken from my dreams, and his white blur quite shy beside us, fragile as his eyes will stray. Our whispered intimacies disappear due to the even space, the clean division in that place where chairs had drawn us in a line. Your half turn to the viewer shows surprise on beauty in your face. My readiness and his forced humour in the diner's dark design. I've seen your face extracted, every one then claims yours was the best, lone portrait, but I know you stand out well against the rest. The time has come, my love, for us to talk of many special things, of silver lockets, longing, love, of poetry and golden rings, of hope and never knowing, waiting, cope with what tomorrow brings, then turn away in solitude again to deal with Cupid's stings. I'll try to tell you how I feel, though words won't come to me so fair when I am in your presence, dealing with your beauty by a stare. My loneliness gives birth to this perception of the time we share, romantically collected as the lines of need I do not dare. I wish that I could hold you close forever, never let you go, and that you felt the same, but need a little time to tell me so. I wish my love was something you had guessed, for now I fear you know the rest. My loss lies in the truth not shared, those thoughts I would not show. I need to know if there's a chance for us sometime. I don't care when, as long as I've got something to hold on to other than the pen. I know I need to wait for you to love me too, and until then I will be here for you, so dear to me, when we can talk again. If it were mine to give, this heart, I'd put it softly in your hands and hope you'd not abuse the life still beating and the love within. It is enough I live in sight of you and that my presence stands foremost sometimes. You choose to hold me close, so close against your skin. If you were mine that way, I'd claim that I was yours more utterly, though not because you fill my mind, but as I want to spend my time in making you the happiest of muses through my poetry, and telling you these things I dare not speak, albeit but in rhyme. If words were mine to so command, I could but cover you with praise, yet know how you can understand but motes of all there is I feel. I tell myself it is enough you find some love in these displays, as well as turn some back again, so I can dream how much is real. If you were mine as much as I am yours, could I hold your heart too, the ultimate in sharing, still dividing love from me and you? Expressions fall, soft petals all, upon the page a gentle waste of pretty phrases, while we while away the hours with little words, when I have so much I want to say, don't know the way, so leave unheard the love I have, in case I ridicule myself, and we remain this chaste. I know my meaning, can write down the feelings sometimes when I'm here alone, but rarely can intone their sensuousness when dealing with you personally, keeping the hurt away until eventually all that I own is poetry, and the wall that's grown between us, like a hardened heart, has turned to stone. Scared senseless in your presence, I place all intentions on the page I give, then cannot mention these emotions. Hope for understandings dawning at some level you can cope with. Run for shelter from reactions without warning. Try to gauge you from a distance, miss my chances. No, that's not the way to live. So easy to soliloquize without an audience, then echoes like applause, a sure encouragement that I can write much more, and keep inside these thoughts that I most want to hide, still seek perfection in a line where all I am is caught at last, if you might read the words I want to say, if you'd not make me pause. I once assured you that my love for you was only pretty lines, and there was nothing more to me than poet looking for a muse. But after all this time it seems I've fallen prey to my designs. You stole my heart while I was writing you. Now I'll reveal the ruse. Each moment that I bathed before your image made me more to feel the wonder of your presence, though you may have been so unaware of your effect. In essence, all the pleasures of your sight I'd steal to fill the page, brought closer what I would admire, so could not share. And so it seems the poetry is mine to hide, because the love I have makes words a secret, and the heart is left to read in shame how I abused the trust of getting close, when that was not enough, and meant to touch what artists dream of, sweet perfection, but by name. I cannot beg forgiveness. I'm not sorry for the things I've said, the feelings that I've had for you, the words that have not come to light, but beg forbearance that I might stay close sometimes, the words then read by one they're meant for, and the only one for whom in love I write. Words on a page, until I get the chance to tell you of these things you'll wonder what I'm thinking every time I muse when you're around, and I will wonder if you guess the truth, what revelation brings, what love can mean to poets, or if this is something else I found. I can assure you now that love is not another pretty line I write. It is the hope I have that some day soon you will be mine. She loved me in the morning when the sky was blue and clear, when the world was showered golden and the grass was sweet with dew. She loved me with a bird song's music only I could hear. So was the dawn, and I thought every day might start as blue. She loved me at the zenith, with the sun high in its arc, when everything was bright and summer held all in its sway. She loved me like the light for which I hungered as the dark, the warmth, the daydreams of the world I'd not let slip away. She left me in the evening as the sun began to set, and the shadows crept up slowly to engulf the beauty there. She left me at my darkest moment, so I won't forget the contrast of the daytime's precious moments we would share. She left me all alone as night fell down to fill with dark the heart that had seen everything a while, then lost all sight. She left me as she loved me, suddenly, but left a spark that some day might find dawning in the coming of new light. A bad day is when you wake and realize you'll never watch Dr. Zhivago to the end without crying. Lara's theme plays on my heart with balalaika echoes through the ages, fading, softly dying. Frontispiece of happiness, and poems penned in love for one I once held dear, but never held that close. Wounds will not heal, and time tears at the scars she cannot tend, much deeper than she knows. We watched the revolution like such war could not affect us, till the shooting started, and those who still stood out, stood up, stood for their beliefs, stand now broken-hearted. I could have been a scientist, to look at finer details to the insides of a formless cell. I should have stayed a poet for a people's admiration of a voice that held them in its spell. I would have been more faithful to my love, the cause, if not for all my words for her that run the gamut of rough pages, cheap ink staining two lives in a blur. Each day it dawns on me I've never had the strength to see the story to the end, or face my own romantic history as truth I've found in losing my own Lara, dearest friend. We used to walk together, hand in hand, towards a wave-swept point far out of reach. But love is like a message in the sand, and now there's no more words on Shelley Beach. Two sets of footprints fade into the grass above the tide mark where we felt so free of being washed away, but that would pass. I am alone as I look out to sea. One seagull cast adrift, one lonely cry, a seeker for a lover or a friend that I once knew beneath a clear blue sky, when we both thought long summers couldn't end. We learn from such mistakes, but it takes time for waning tides to show no more, to teach the revelations of the water's rhyme, the empty sunsets walking Shelley Beach. Sometimes I think the sun will never rise for me, these shadows filling up the breach that was my heart, tears streaming from my eyes to wash away two lives on Shelley Beach. But poets rarely come to understand the meaning of their footprints in the sand. Two people. Once upon a time we dared to ask what that might mean. Now we know. And now we find we're not as brave as we once thought. The answer to the question leaves us wondering, and we feel caught with expectations, fear and disillusion. Nothing in between. There's feeling, nothing changes from fond memories, that there's the delight still in each other's company, though barriers will sometimes rise. There's longing and there's pain, and we have seen it in each other's eyes. So I won't try again to move so fast as on that fateful night. We had an understanding of a kind, and now we comprehend our difference of opinion in the knowledge love and hope can bring. In looking out for love, one needed some, one wanted everything. Now neither wants to lose the understanding of an erstwhile friend. Too complicated for two people to work out, it's best to let our recent past fall to a memory to treasure when alone, and share the time we have together now, as understanding shown that love can come and go, but friendship's not so easy to forget. If two ordinary people fall in love, then who would notice, as the fluttering of hearts is very private, but the essence of romance is when the world aside falls softly out of focus. There is nothing so desired as being in each other's presence. If two ordinary people fall apart, how could they listen to the chattering of friends who give advice, dole out condolence? If relationships can end so privately, the tears that glisten on their cheeks are salty secrets. Does love really make much sense? If two ordinary people meet again, with many staring, do they try to hide the heartache and embarrassment, the tensions? Or do people find it better to forget past moments sharing for the present bright display and hide the truth each night's appearance? If two ordinary people find a way to come together in a way they can remember used to often give them pleasure, who can blame them wanting privacy again if they can ever get back to the love from then time apart has no true measure? If two ordinary people know true love, time will give healing to the hearts that stretch to breaking, so the making up won't lessen what was always there between them. Set aside some time, the feeling that they're more alive in being just two people, one obsession. If two ordinary people stay together, then there'll ever be extraordinary love that they can treasure. Lonely never. Rainy day today. The sky is crying empathy with eyes that saw last night a hopeless sight. The one I love will not be mine. Pour down those tears. The hurt of truth makes clear that no feeling dies unless the bitterness inside cannot be soothed by drops so fine. The thunder in my heart has passed, the pounding is a different beat in lone staccato, morning felt defeat, rain washing over me to take away some pain, but leave me standing in the rain, complete, a part of all that falls, precipitation soaked in misery. There is no lightning passion, my reactions have grown dull and grey, all of a long and rainy day-like fashion, covered with one cloud. The only light I loved and knew has taken all life away, and I am left with memory, so I'm allowed to cry aloud. Raining in my heart will never wash away my love, I know, but now the words can start their journey down my cheeks to join the flow. I've lost her now. The words I wrote are meaningless without that pen. This faded ink cannot replace her lovely face or what it meant to see her with another man when I can still remember when I held her hand. And here I am still writing, though the feeling's spent. It's not as if that sleekness represented need against my heart, but in that pen her generosity long shone since she's been gone, as if the gift replaced the giver, and we were not so apart. And now we've lost that symbol, and I've never felt so much alone. I want to hold her softly, or her image, for a final time, and tell her all the things I should have said with love so long ago. Take in her inspiration, give to her the flowing of my rhyme, then lay her by and walk away, and simply say so she will know. No pain compares to loss, and then no misery is so complete as when you place your hope into one image, just to disappear. I'll never hold the pen again, nor else the lady's love so sweet, and yet I can't forget, and so I'll never hold someone so dear. I've lost her now, so write no more with substitutes for how I feel. The ink is mine alone, and now I know that every line is real. So here we are. Though nothing's changed between us, all the words we said were weights upon my mind relieved, and I can see them in your eyes. Those thoughts are out in front of me, and though we can't be where they've led, at least there's a foundation we can build on other than my lies. I've lied to you by never saying how I felt, what to expect when I am contemplating us or making plans out on my own. And now I've found a way to open up my heart and be direct and share the load. It makes me wonder if I'll learn to love alone. I've lied sometimes, pretending to myself you knew more than you could, had guessed, had read between the lines that I relied upon too much. I told myself that I would tell you everything I really should, then let you fill my silences until I felt us out of touch. Oh, how I lied. I've tried hard to believe that there was nothing wrong in how I treated you when I was so in love, with you unsure. I wanted to be places of the heart and take you right along, not just to have the journey, but to stay together evermore. So here we are, no closer either way, and still as far apart as when you asked for breathing space and I'd step back to give you time. We are so close it hurts to reach inside and have a heart to heart, then try to pick up all the pieces, pictured to a page of rhyme. And here we are. I contemplate the fate of love as some ideal and leave you unaware of all these inner thoughts on how I feel. I told you what I felt. Admittedly, exaggeration always plays a greater part than I would hope, but I was talking with the influence of alcohol and losing you, so balking at the use of mild hyperbole won't dim infatuation. And then I walked away, as if there wasn't any more to do than say you were the most important person in the world to me. I couldn't say I love you, though I suspect that you already knew from what I unreliably held back in all the poetry. But is it all enough to claim that all I have to do is wait until you come around, perhaps appreciate what I have said? Beyond the self-importance and the heartache where we've both been led, I wanted love's eternity fulfilling what I see as fate. But I've never asked you what you want. Sometimes I've had to guess how much you hide and how much you are telling me by being there. And then, when we're apart, I learned to understand through loneliness that I would take that from us both to build a life that we could share. I wonder if it's fair to say those things you didn't want to hear, then turn away, aware of their effect, be satisfied to know that now there is no question of intentions, nothing more to show, and only answers from the one who listened, whom I hold most dear. Don't hate me for my method, as I had a choice between mistakes, to tell you everything and wish you would reciprocate my love, or else then run in fear and never show the way my spent heart breaks, or else just keep my counsel close. I only hope I've done enough. As if on cue, each time I give up hope, you get in touch again, ostensibly to talk about the stuff I miss out on here, this far away from you. But it's the ritual I now and then invest with meaning far beyond the conversation, so held dear. But nothing changes. You will chatter, I will listen through the night in deepest felt enjoyment of your presence. You ask if I'm bored, and at the end I get the strongest notion something isn't right. We haven't talked at all. What's most important, us, has been ignored. I'm thankful for the time when I was drunk enough to tell you things you didn't want to hear, and thankful for your tiredness in a way. Sometimes I need the courage that the influence of drink still brings to gather all I've written into something poets never say. You look at me as if you always knew or feared what I reveal, and now I know for sure there's nothing more, and I have gone too far. This is the way it is, although afraid I've told you how I feel, and you will run away again a while, and this is who we are.